This week on the Weekly Reid,
especially in the black community, more so in the black community, men get checked like that.
I think it's important that we get rid of this idea that gay men are supposed to be a certain type of way.
Growing up as black and gay in surrounded by predominantly black people, I didn't know who to turn to.
Hi, my name is Danae and welcome back to the Weekly Reid, where our goal is to educate and entertain simultaneously. Discrimination is running rampant in the United States, so I thought it was so important to have a show on intersectionalities and how they affect us. That being said, I am so happy to introduce my next guest, who happens to identify as a black gay male and also happens to be my cousin, Durrell Eastland. So thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you for having me, little cousin.
Can you just introduce yourself and tell everybody why you're here?
All right, my name is Durrell. Like I said, I am your oldest cousin. I am here because we are discussing being a member of the LGBT community and also being African American.
Okay, cool. So LGBTQ, but like there's a whole bunch of letters after it too, right?
Yes, I don't even know how many letters they added. To be completely honest, basically it's all
like the
inclusive.
Whole alphabet.
Yes,
yeah.
all inclusive.
I know LGBTQIA. That's all I know up to.
You know more than I do, and I remember the community. No, like I know what most of the letters stand for, but the I and A.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet.
So you brought up, the intersectionality or intersection, whatever, of being a black gay man. So what has that experience been like for you?
It's very interesting. Especially being younger, it was very interesting because it was a point where I had a great time. It was great. It was fun. But as far as this part of myself that I didn't really know until I was older, it was a part that was kind of like shunned away from every side, like every, I guess, the group that I belonged to.
Right.
So it was something that I was never really able to speak on growing up, which did make it a little more difficult. Than the kids have it nowadays, which is great. How they have it a little,
right.
You would think it's not as great nowadays, but it really is a lot better than it was for me growing up, because it was really growing up as black and gay in surrounded by predominantly black people. I didn't know who to turn to.
Right.
I younger went to church a lot with my family, and I guess fear is the first thing that got in the way, because you read the Bible and it's not supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And as black people, we know that we tend to turn to the Bible for a lot of our issues and to solve a lot of problems.
Only the ones that we want to go to.
Only the issues we want to go to, exactly. Only issues we want to go to. So I think, and that's another thing that is breaking up a little bit. Now that in 2018. There is change happening despite everything else that's going on in the world. But that is something that has definitely improved as well. But I just didn't know where to go when I was younger. I had no clue. So it was kind of like something I carried to myself, and it's definitely shaped who I've grown into. And just in hindsight, you can just look back and see that, yes, growing up black and gay was different. It was just a lot different than a lot of other childhoods, because when you think about it, when you grow up as a kid, you're just growing up as a kid. A lot of kids don't grow up with secrets that they're aware of. Some kids might grow up with disorders and something like that that they know, it's like whatever, but I grew up with something that I knew it was just unexplained for a while, and like I said, I had no one to go to.
Right.
So it was just a part of myself that was kind of always
on the low.
Yeah, it was always on the low, which made me turn into a very secretive person when I was younger, and it shapes so many things.
Yeah.
Just not being able to be 100% yourself.
Yeah, and I'm sure that caused a lot of issues too.
Yes, it did. To piggyback off of the what I said about being secretive, it's very I don't know, you're not giving 100% of yourself. I was constantly checking my moves. I was constantly, is my wrist limp, lift my wrist up. Am I, do I have a lisp? Am I, slurring something? Am I waving my neck a little much, a little too much? And being black, and being masculine, that's a whole nother issue.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, that's another issue. So it was something, basically it was just growing up with something hidden. It wasn't fun.
Right.
It wasn't fun, yeah.
So you brought up like the lip wrist and having to talk a certain type of way and things like that. So do you think that those are things that are only identified with the gay community? Like, why are those things that you wanted to check?
Yeah, definitely I wanted to check this because, like I said, as far as the, I guess just keep it in line. Like, especially in the black community, more so in the black community, men get checked like that. We get checked like that. It's shown as weakness if a man cries. It's shown as weakness if the man isn't the lead of the household. Sometimes it shows weakness. So it's just like, what does it mean to be a man? And it's just like, we just need to get out of our own heads, get out of our own ways, because when you think about it, we're really like, I don't know, like as black people, when we go and start oppressing other people, and we're oppressing people who are already oppressed, and we ourselves are oppressed. So it's like, why do we want to continue to take that, and layer on all that just oppression, basically? So it's just like, I'm already black, but it's like, so now it's like, I'm black, but I'm gay, so it's like, okay, so now a straight black person is better than I am, so now I'm like, well, I'm fighting to get up here when, all the other black people are right here, and I'm right here now because now I'm gay, so it's like, I got so much more to climb, so it's a lot to take. Right, so
obviously the discussion is heavily based on race, so do you think white men typically have it easier when it comes to the way that they're allowed to act in public?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And the reason being is because look at, just goes on the bigger picture of representation. Look at representation. What do you see stereotypically? Because everybody goes on stereotypes and loves stereotypes and stereotypes as far as kind of judging how gay people should act. But when you look on television, you see a lot more, especially earlier, like when I was coming up in the late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of white gays, white homosexuals and lesbians on television, and they were portrayed a certain way. So even still in that, to be African American and gay, we're still not represented as far as all aspects of it. Like, I feel like to be white and gay, you're kind of more well-rounded representation in the media and everywhere else. And it's still the first place that everybody's eye goes to, simply because you would think it was different in the gay community versus straight community, but I'm here to tell you, no, it is not. The level of racism and everything, it still applies, and sometimes it is actually worse in the gay community.
I tell everybody that.
And it is, and it's worse simply because, okay, you're already being oppressed. White people by nature, we know, are privileged. There is a privilege that comes with being a white person. Now,
especially a white man.
Especially a white man. Now what you're going to do is take a white man, and you can see this, and it's so crazy you can relate this to politics right now. Take a white man who is in power, who is the top of the food chain, but knock a couple points off by making him a homosexual. He's automatically going to have a power trip. Automatically have a power trip. The ego is going to be a little worse because he now wants to prove even more that he is superior.
Right.
So no black, I'm not attracted to black people is very, I'm sorry, you're cute for a black guy is very common in the gay community.
I've gotten that before.
You're cute, right? And it's almost as if black people are held to this type of standard. Well, wow, you're cute for a black guy. You're not as cute as the ugliest white person, but for a black guy, you look really, really good, and that's a compliment.
They really think it's a compliment.
And they think it's a compliment, and you have to sit there and go like this. Okay, thank you.
You don't
like
know what
that's
to say,
rude, but and it's crazy how it goes across like that, and it's crazy to think, hey, they're white. I mean, there's people all over of all colors who voted for Trump.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people of the LGBTQ community who are white.
Yeah.
Who voted for him too, and it's almost as if they don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
They just see the power structure and they see where the rest of the white people are going, so I'm gonna go ahead and go there. So it's crazy to think that even in the gay community, being black is still a crutch, like a huge crutch. But you just gotta deal with it like everybody else does.
And I think something that you brought up that I thought was interesting was the topic of representation and what that looks like, because people don't understand black men, period.
Yeah.
So when you add being gay to it, they really don't understand and they don't know how to take you. And I think that's why that there's some idea that the black gay man does not exist. And that's, obviously really unfortunate, because after doing my research, I realized that there's so many people who are now identifying as LGBTQ, especially in the black community. And I was wondering, do you think that it's because more people are realizing that they are gay, or more because they're realizing that they're able to say something?
That's the second one right there. It's because you're realizing you're able to say something.
Yeah.
I wish, and I talk to my fiance about this a lot, I wish I was able to express myself the way that the kids are able, or still doing it nowadays.
Yeah.
Not to say that it doesn't still come with hurdles, because everything still does. However, I wish I was able to express myself, because and even close to me, family and friends now are complete 180 from years ago, and it was like so now there are people who are close to me who I know that I could probably go to and talk to and have a conversation with and confide in, whereas 10, 15 years ago, to be completely honest, no.
Yeah.
So, the progression has been nice. We still got ways to go.
Right.
But
like with everything.
Yeah, like with everything. But I mean, it's just basically how everything else is. Really.
Yeah, and another thing that I was thinking about, especially when we were talking about race and white gay men versus black gay men, is that I remember growing up, white men were just so able to, like, for example, if a white guy was touching another guy's butt or something like that,
right.
it's considered funny.
Yep.
Like, nobody's looking at them like they're gay. But God forbid a black man walks with a switch. Now everybody's pointing the finger.
Now here's the thing. A lot of the time, it's not. Now that's one thing that black people have to own. We in the black community have to seriously just kind of reset how we're supposed to view the black male.
And I don't feel like there should be a set view.
There shouldn't be a set view, to be completely honest. But it's like, black women or black men, just black people in general, they'll they see a black guy go like this, or
right.
What is? Oh my God! Why did he just be got a little bit of sugar in his tank? This is it, and it's just almost like. That's what I meant by growing up. Like, you have to check yourself so much, because even a straight man could be mistaken. Like, I
know so many straight men who get mistaken for gay all the time just because they're not football players or basketball players.
It makes me sick, and it's ridiculous, because it's just like, you really can't let that man exist. You can't let him be who he wants to be.
And be free.
And just be free. And that's what I have. Now I've been able to do, and that came with some growth. But I mean, it's just crazy being, number one, being black. You already black.
Yeah.
You already black. So you already you're already born, unfortunately, with this something against you. So to be born gay and black, it's just like, I don't know. Everything just gets weighted down, and it's just sad to see that there's such a bad stigma. It's like I said, it is going away. It's slowly but surely going away. But it's such a bad stigma on, just black men in general, and just checking their behaviors. And I think that is very unhealthy. Even for straight men, it's just unhealthy. Let men be who they want to be. Let them act how they want to act. Obviously, you don't want to go crazy.
Right.
But
and not put labels on them.
Yeah, don't put labels on somebody just because you stand back and you view them a certain way, and you're I don't know this, I don't know that, because you don't know, especially if you voice those opinions too, you don't know how it makes the other person feel. Mm-hmm. And that exactly, and that was what messed me up a little bit growing up, was because there were people who were closer to me who would make comments like that, and I started checking my behavior, like, oh my God, am I doing this, am I doing that? But then I'm like, it comes natural to me. So then I would get mad at myself. So then that harbors and that builds, just anxiety, stress, depression, which is a lot of what you see in the LGBTQ community in general, but especially in people of color, because of the not being able to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Parents out there, anyone out there, if you have family members or your kids, who come to you and say, or they just want to talk to you, don't push them away. Like, just let them talk. A lot of times, just talking is what people want to do.
Right.
And don't always refer to church. Unfortunately, just don't. That is not something that we, as Black people, should still be falling on.
Especially because
Christianity is hey, thank you very much. But I'm just saying, it's just
sorry,
like,
Mom.
yeah, no, and it's crazy. It's because it's like you just can't. You just have to let people be. And if you don't know the answer, or if you can't find the answer isn't always throwing the Bible at it.
So I was going to ask you, so earlier you mentioned about being born gay. So that's something that is a huge discussion even still. Are people not born gay?
You're born gay.
Okay, so when did you realize that you were gay?
I always know it was different. I just never got the label.
Okay.
Never understood the label. Like, the label really was hidden from me. And I heard the label, I heard it younger in the form of faggot. And that was in response to having a limp wrist. So even still, the first thing I heard about it was a negative connotation. That was it.
Okay.
It was the first thing. And I just didn't know. I thought it was different. I tried to equate it with, like, always wanting to pick the female character and playing a video game, or always but you know what? They're just better. They're just better. Like, but I try to equate it with, like, that, or just, not wanting to do, like, if I have friends who played soccer or something, like, I don't want to play soccer. So I try to equate it with stuff like that. Like, and I was just like, am I not a boy? Am I not this? Am I not that? But I still like sports, so it was like, so that's not it, but I know it's something. And it wasn't really until maybe, like, I want to say maybe middle school. And like elementary school, middle school, not until I started getting teased.
Okay.
Which, I would say 6th grade. So 6th grade is when I kind of started to understand exactly what it was, really, or what who I was, really. Well, actually, I can't say that now, who I was, but, like, what, that I was a homosexual, and it was through being teased.
Right.
And, those were rough, 6th through 9th. I mean, high school was rocky, but I played it off because I was...
And you were still dealing with females.
Right, and then I played sports and tried to play it off, and,
you're fine.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
But no, like, trying to play sports, trying to hide everything, and then that's kind of how it got played off. But I knew who I was, I want to say, by middle school. And like I said, unfortunately, the first, I guess, half of my homosexual life was all negative. It was nothing but negative.
Negativity.
Just negativity.
Yeah.
And that just put me into a very dark place for, like, my late teens, early 20s, like, a very dark place.
He was wildin'.
Crazy. Like, he's wilding out. You look back at it and you just go, I was really going crazy.
Yeah.
But it's, you go crazy. You don't know who you are.
You have to suppress your emotions. So what else is there for you to do?
But and it's funny, and I like that you brought that point up. And people kind of make fun of, they make fun of gay men sometimes for dancing like this and doing that. If you were literally stuck inside of yourself, a shell of yourself, for almost half or more of your life,
how would you feel?
And then you finally, like, we're done. I'm gonna go out and dance like that too. And it didn't. It's crazy that I didn't realize. I never knew why. I joked about the stereotype, like, gay men dance with their hands up. I don't know why. And then you think of it on, like, a spiritual level, or, like, a more emotional level. And you're just like, because you are literally free. It's like your inner self going, finally, I can be me. And it's crazy, again, in the Black community, we as Black people know how it is to just be us and be criticized for being us.
Right.
So it always got me that I could be in the gay community and be Black and still get criticized, mostly by other Black people. And it would just, like, I'm like, that person right there just called you the N-word.
Yeah.
But you gonna turn it into call me a faggot.
F-word, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because people only care about what's pertinent to
Right,
them.
and it's crazy. It's a shame, but
Yeah. And, just to, again, go back to a point that you've made multiple times, I think it's important that we get rid of this idea that gay men are supposed to be a certain type of way, because as we've talked about before, I've seen men who are like big, beefy on the football team gay.
Yeah.
But I've also seen men who people assume to be gay because of the way that they look or the way they act or the way they dress. I've seen them also accuse them of being gay as well. So I think for us, the black community, period, we need to stop assuming that gay has a look.
Yeah.
And again, just let people be who they are.
Yeah, just let people be. Let people just like.
Because it shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Just like you want to be black and just mind your business. I want to be gay and black. I don't want to mind my business too.
So you mentioned that you had a fiance a couple times.
I did.
Okay, can you just tell us a little bit about him?
Yes, my fiance, Dominic. We have been together. It'll be 8 years actually.
October 31st.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I know I like.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, it'll be 8 years. Yes, and it's funny, he's actually white. And
Actually.
No, because it's funny because people, and even like my mom has asked me, like, how does Dom feel about, like, you say like sometimes Black Lives Matter, this is that. I'm like, how's he supposed to feel? Like, he's not like a Trump supporter. Like
he's not the average white.
Yeah, I mean, like he's a person who understands, and I feel like to people to that effect, saying, oh, you saying all this black stuff like this, but your fiance, it doesn't matter.
And that pisses me off when people act like you can't be pro-black and have a white partner.
Exactly, it does not matter.
Yeah.
People need to just drop everything. Going back to I'll make another point real quick. You have to realize that a lot of people get judged, whether you're gay, straight, or whatever. You are literally judging people on who they lie down next to at the end of the night. I can have the same job as you. I could go to the same grocery store as you, pay the same bills as you. But if I lay my head at the end of the night next to another man instead of another woman, all of a sudden I am just this devalued person. And that literally makes absolutely not one lick of sense.
Yeah.
Not one lick of sense, so we need to definitely get past that. But going back to my wonderful fiance, he has, he's been there. He's dealt with all the insecurities and stuff that come with being black and in the gay community, because a lot of it comes from being black and gay. A lot of the stuff that I've gone through has come from being black and gay, and he's just been a nice little light to say, I guess to say, to just everything that's going on in the world. And it just it's refreshing, you see all this other stuff going on out there, and you see, white versus black and all this. It's just stuff that's not necessary. Like, we can be passionate, and I can be passionate about these issues, and you can be passionate about issues, and we can still coexist because we're people. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter like if he's white or it just does not matter. But if you would like to delve deeper into that, where this is like kind of more on a psychological level, some people, and I can say maybe when I was first coming out, it kind of was evident, being attracted to someone who isn't black seemed normal simply because growing up, that's who I was teased by the most.
Oh, wow.
That's who put me down the most.
Right.
That's who wasn't in my corner. Just weren't there. People who looked like me. They were the ones calling me sugar, calling me sweet, teasing me, pushing me, doing all that until you flip out and you go crazy on somebody. But
because they don't know you're Sharice's child.
Yeah, but that was the first thing. And those, again, being black and being straight and the whole idea of masculinity, that's really what messed up a lot of stuff. And if you really want to dig down deeper into it, maybe that is why I was attracted to white men or men who were not black, simply because, and people don't realize how much that can affect you, but that can affect you, and that's just how that happened. But, everything's fine, and we're living fine, and we're just being, cute and gay together, and it's just nice. I feel like my family likes Dominic better than they like me now anyway. So
Can you come here? Can you come here? Just get on the camera for like 2 seconds. I just want people to see your beautiful face. You're gonna have to crouch down.
Whatever. Yeah.
This is dumb. Look at funny. There you go. Goodbye. Okay. Well, that's pretty much all I have for you today. So, is there anything that you want to say before we sign off? Any advice that you want to give anybody?
Oh, I will say right now it is National Coming Out Day is coming up shortly. It's the beginning of October. So if you yourself are thinking about coming out, it's a perfect time. You know, there's a big community. There's a big community out there waiting for you. I'm sure there's a lot of local parties in your local neighborhoods and family members. If you have the inkling that one of your other family members is gay, do not assume. Ask if they want to talk, or don't ask if they want to talk, but do not assume. You let them be, you let them live, but just always let them know that you were there for them, and that, you know, love is love, and that's all we have.
That's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being on my show, cousin. And I will be back next week. I'm going to leave the topic a surprise because it'll be really cool. So I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, and that's a wrap.